Hey guys, looks like we're live, and I'm going to just go ahead and share this in one of my groups and then we will get started. All right, here we go, sharing. Say hi as you're hopping on. I'm just working on getting this into shared into one of my communities, and then I'll get started. Hey, thanks for being here. Just 1 minute till we get started. All right, so hello to everyone who's watching. Thanks for getting on. This is a video that I initially intended to make last Sunday, but you may know what happened. Unfortunately, we had adopted 2 rescue dogs and I got bitten last Friday night and required emergency hand surgery. So thank you guys so much for all of the concern that you have been expressing. It really means a lot to me, and we're pretty sad that the foster mom had to take the dogs back for now because I just can't use my hand very well. There's a lot of extensive stitches there. So there's just a lot of things I can't do right now, but it's healing really well. So, you know, things are going about as well as they could be given what's happened. But tonight I wanted to talk to you about how I adapt recipes for my meal plan. So I actually have stopped doing the timed nutrition this last week since I had my injury, but I will start back up with it again. I just have been less regimented about like eating these foods and these combinations at this time, and I'm not doing that right now. Partly because I had like kind of I had so much food prepared for the week ahead, and then I don't need as much because I'm not doing the tough workouts. So I just have to go through kind of the food that I have on hand right now, and then I'll start planning to eat kind of in the same way but at a lower calorie level since I'm not working out as hard right now. So that's how I'm adapting the meal plan for my current condition and activity level. But in general, even before I was following timed nutrition, for the last 3 years or so, I have been following the container system. So you've probably seen those little plastic containers, red, yellow, green, blue, orange. They're in a lot of my photos, and I use them to measure my food. So it's different sizes of containers for the different food groups. And I've been using that system. It just helps you balance the amounts of each food group and the sizes of your portions that you're getting. It's been working really well for me, and I decided to make this video because I get so many questions about how to find recipes that fit in the container system and how to adapt recipes for the container system. And I really don't think it's that hard. So let me walk you through it, and you're going to see how easy it is that you really can do it yourself. It's not that I don't want to help you, but I'm sure like I give my customers all of my recipes, like tons and tons of recipes in my archives, on my blog, with the container counts. But once you see how simple it is to just look at a recipe, like any recipe that you want to try, and adapt it for the containers, it's going to be really empowering, because then you'll know how to make anything that you want to make fit into this system, and you don't have to rely on a recipe that already has the container counts. So here we go. I'm actually going to turn this around. Hopefully this is going to work so you can actually see the recipe that I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay, so this is like not really, probably has a little food on it because I've been cooking with this, but this is a real recipe from my meal plan this week. This is not one that I've made yet. Hopefully, I'm going to try and hold the camera really still. Hopefully there's not too much movement. So, it's called Kitchen Sink Hash. This is a menu plan called the Fresh 20 that I use, but really, you know, you can use any recipe for the principles I'm about to describe to you. And the reason it's called Kitchen Sink Hash is it's supposed to be kind of what you put together from what the odds and ends that you have left over at the end of the week. So it's maybe not a very attractive name, but if you're starting with good ingredients, it turns out to be a good dish. So let me just walk through it real quick. So you need some cooking oil, garlic scallions, and then you're sauteing bell pepper and Brussels sprouts, beets and sweet potatoes with rosemary, salt, and pepper, and white beans. This is the original recipe. And you just heat it through, and then you crack some eggs over the top. And that's the recipe. So how I decided to adapt this for my meal plan. Okay, so number one is to make sure that the cooking oil is approved. So anything that is using canola oil or vegetable oil, I would replace with olive, coconut, sesame, one of the oils that is approved on my plan. That's just an easy swap. Now that wasn't necessary here, but like I said, I want to walk you through every step of the plan. And then most seasonings, spices, flavors are approved free foods, so you don't have to worry about those. So the next thing to look at is just going to be the proportions of the food to each other and the portion sizes. So I knew that I needed more protein. What this was suggesting was 4 eggs, 1 per serving. Now I know that I need 2 eggs per serving to make a red container to get enough protein, so it's, you know, a full serving of protein for me. So I just crossed out and put 8 eggs instead of 4. Really simple. Like, see what I mean? This is not complicated at all. And then just looking at the category or the amounts of vegetables. So if you see, I actually wrote the container counts down on the recipe. It says red, yellow, green times 2, and blue. So that's what it ended up being. That's one of the meals that I have on my Time nutrition plan. And then there would be fruit for dessert, which is a purple. But I just do that kind of a la carte. I don't put it on the recipe. So once I had decided which meal I'm going to use this for, then I have to make sure it fits the container count. So I got my whole red container. Now you see I crossed out white beans off of the list because it already has sweet potatoes. And both of those are yellow containers. Both of those are carbohydrates. So I had to pick one or the other. I had some roasted sweet potatoes already from a previous meal. You see the recipe uses leftovers from a previous meal. So I knew I was using the sweet potatoes because I have them already as part of another recipe. So it's easier to just cut out the white beans. So that's what I did. Crossed them off the recipe, crossed them off my shopping list. So I'm keeping my carbs down to a 1/2 cup per serving. So we addressed that red container, we addressed that yellow container, protein and carbs, and then looking at the green container, I need 2 for this recipe to fit. So I need 2 full cups of vegetables. And I actually had decided not to use the Brussels sprouts just because I was using more of them in another meal. So that's kind of, you know, you could just as easily use them. It's not that I had to cut them out for anything to do with this recipe. But other than that, in the vegetable category, we have some scallions, we have bell peppers, and then we have beets. So what I did was added extra beets. So I'm still getting to my 2 cups of vegetables per serving, 2 green containers per serving. So, you with me so far? We got 2 eggs for a red container, 1/2 cup of sweet potatoes for yellow, 2 cups of beets, and you know the scallions and bell pepper fit in there too, but they're relatively small amounts, and that's our green containers. And then the last thing that's here is blue container, which was not initially part of this recipe, so I decided to add cheese. And that's usually the category or it's often the category that's missing. So I have my kind of go-to categories of fats. So in the blue container, it's going to be cheese or nuts or avocado. And then if I was doing a meal with an orange container, it would be seeds or olives. So I use green or black olives quite a bit, or otherwise pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, pine nuts are also an orange container. So it's a lot of different flavor profiles, and I just basically pick what I think will fit best with the recipe to get those healthy fats in if they weren't already part of the recipe, or, you know, I can replace them if it was a different kind of fat that doesn't fit with the meal. So that is basically it. What questions do you have? Hopefully this was clear how I amended this recipe, and it still, you know, kept the original seasonings and more or less the original proportions and, you know, quantity of the recipe, and just swapped out some ingredients and changed some quantities to make it fit in my meal plan. You can do this with any recipe that you find in any cookbook or any website. Oh, what I didn't mention was the cooking oil. So that's something I kind of just take for granted. But so there would be 1 teaspoon per serving total with this dish. So I just have to really watch the quantities then when I'm cooking, because I'm using some for the veggies and some for the eggs as well. So probably what I would do is use 2 teaspoons for the sauteing the veggies. So that's a half a teaspoon per serving, because it's 4 servings. And then for the eggs, since I'm making 8, you know, I do them in 2 pans, 4 and 4, with 1 teaspoon in each pan. So dividing the 4 teaspoons that way, so we get a little bit of cooking oil for each step of the recipe, but we don't have more than 1 teaspoon per serving total. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Let me know though if you do have any questions, if there's any part of that that you did not follow. But that's how you can really take any recipe and adapt it for this plan. So if you are feeling like you would like to try more recipes along those lines and work on adapting your favorite dishes to be healthier with the choice of oils or the amount of fat and the proportions of, you know, protein to carbs to fat, I actually just posted about my next program that will be coming up starting on April 23rd. So if you go to my Living Vibrantly page, it's a pinned post, and I'll see if I can also post a link in the comments here, but it's called Eat to Fuel Your Body. And so there's a 1-week prep week and then 21 days of actually putting it into practice and eating this way. And for each of those 28 days, you'll be getting an email message in your inbox to kind of set the tone for the day and give you something to work on for the day, a discussion question, maybe an assignment that you reply to it, and really helping you learn more about nutrition and more about why certain foods are healthier for you, and, you know, just support good, vibrant health more so than other foods. So that type of knowledge has really been so influential for me in having good eating habits stick, because if I didn't understand why I was doing it, it was really hard to keep it up. So that's exactly why I created this program, and why I feel like it really can connect the dots for someone if you have been trying to trying to eat better. Like, what does that actually mean? So this program helps you make it really concrete, helps you identify specific improvements to make, and then you have the support of a coach also, and you'll be part of my healthy eating community as well for, you know, recipes, feedback, support, so you don't have to feel like you're doing this completely alone. You have someone you can ask questions to, you have someone that you can just, if you are having something that's just like really I guess like a tricky problem that you're having trouble solving, we can brainstorm together and you don't have to just do it all on your own. So check out the program information in the pinned post and also in the comments on this video. And there's a button on the event page. You can check going or interested, and I'll reach out to you to talk to you more about it, or you can always send me a message. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys.